Video, we're going to see how you can import frames from an animated sequence and create your own version of an animation in Photoshop. So first of all, you've got to open up a new file. So you go to New in Photoshop and you select film and video formats and HD TV 180 progressive scan. That'll be a good size to start off with. You could have a higher definition if you wanted to, 300 ppi. Let's actually go with 72. So you create your folder and then you go to where you've got your sequences saved, and if you've just exported them out of Premiere, you will probably have a list something like this with various numbers. If you select them in order, it's going to be a lot easier to work with. You can then move them around once you've created your layers, but if you start off with the lowest number, so this is 002, so I'm just going to drag that onto my surface. You need to tick that you've accepted the image, and you'll see that that's created a background layer, which is white, and your first layer, which is your first animated image. You then go back to your folder and select the second image, which is actually image number 4. You drag that in, and you can see that's created layer number 2, and you click on OK, and you go to the next image, which is number 5, bring that into the project, and so on and so forth. Very, very straightforward, really. We're going to 6. Let's just have, wait a minute, I didn't click on that. Need to make sure you're doing that. Just want to make sure we've got something to play around with. There's slight arm movements there, which is quite nice. So just click on OK up there, and I'll go with one more and click on there. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers now. Let me just move this over so we can see that a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rename these layers and call them, let's call it image 1, and I'm just going to refer to the mouth slight open, just because I might want to refer to that later. So you can rename your images. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. So that you've got image 2. That looks actually very similar to image 1, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to actually delete that. Didn't notice that. Sorry, I'm looking at the top one, aren't I? I want to actually shut those all off so I can see image 1, image 2 are slightly different. So I'm just going to say image 2, I'm going to call that what? Mouth side. If I just give them very rough titles, it'll make it much easier. So number 3, image 3, open, and then image 4, I'm just going to say hands, because there's a slight change of the hands, and then image 5 is hands down. Okay, now what I might be able to do, I could save those. I could save that as a file. So if I haven't already created my folder, I can save this as my project, let's call it, and save that with all the different layers. But what I might want to do, I'm actually going to turn off all the layers except the first one. What I might want to do is actually be a little bit creative. So what I'm going to do is save it as my project, and I'm going to call it creative, because I'm going to actually change some things. And I'm going to play around with actually getting rid of the background. So what I can use is my magic eraser tool, and if I set the tolerance to something like about 50, kind of mid tolerance point, then if I actually click on the image, it will ask me if I want to rasterize the object, which I do, so click on OK, and I can then remove parts of the background. So that will allow me just to isolate my subject. So I'm actually going to get rid of lots of bits and pieces. Obviously this is quite time consuming. I'm not going to spend too much time. If you set the tolerance, oh, that's too much. You can see I've taken away some of the sofa, so I'm going to actually undo that. I'm then going to just go back and use an eraser tool. That's a little bit large, so I'm going to change the size of my eraser to kind of, looks about right, and just erase some of the things. Obviously this is quite time consuming, so I'm not going to do all of this. But then when I've got my image, you'll see in when I import it back into Premiere, if I've actually erased some of the background, it will mean that I can actually use this image and have different backgrounds. It's a bit like having a green screen, so that I can then use this animated character. Obviously I'm not doing this ever so well, but you get the general idea. That I can remove all of the background. I'm leaving a little bit of that shadow. I need to tidy that bit up. But I'm leaving a little bit of the shadow under the sofa just to make it look a bit realistic. I could get rid of that as well. Let's actually get rid of all of it, and then we can have it. I can tidy that up in a little while.